Hello, Nerdy-Nawg-Dawgs. Okay, if you're still struggling to write that intro paragraph, this is for your mission report, right? I just want to remind you, all of your supplies can be found under your classwork on your Google Classroom and under social studies stuff. And then, of course, I've created the mission report materials. So all the materials are in here. Our notes, this video will be in there, different videos you can watch, different links to gather information from. And your mission assignments, as well as the student copy. Okay, so the student copy of the mission report looks like this. And this details your formatting, what the report should look like, the order in which it goes, along with all that we've already been detailing, right? So you should see right away that you need your introductory paragraph. Then number one, you'll have subtopic number one, which is description of your mission. Number two, unique features. Number three, historical events, all at your mission. Those are the body paragraphs, or in the case of a research report, we call it the subtopic. Okay, and then of course you'll have a conclusion. You're going to draw some original artwork, and hopefully all throughout this, as we put it together in our final week, you'll include pictures and diagrams of your mission. And that'll also help when you go to take some of this information and add it to your presentation so you can present to the class. So this week, we're just working on the researching and the writing of it. So this is for your introductory paragraph. So again, your step one is to research the required information. And then step two is to write a paragraph about it, put it into your writing. So that's what we're going to be doing today and what we're talking about today. Now, the introduction questions to be researched, again, they're found on here. I also assigned them as homework, and someone did a really great job here. So let's see if I can pull it up. Here we go. Devin, if you don't mind me sharing. So this was to be answered in terms of research. Now, a lot of this was already head information, as I call it, information that you guys have made your own because you know it, you've learned about it. For instance, what was the purpose of the missions being built in Alta California? Guess what? Every one of you Nerdy-Nawg-Dawgs should know the answer to that up here in your head, which you do. However, because this is a research report, you need to include research within your writing. It cannot all be head information. Therefore, this homework assignment, every single question on it should have been taken from research so that you can insert those details into your writing. Okay? And this was a great bit of research that Devin found. An answer to that question, she wrote, an effort to convert Native Americans to Catholicism and expand European territory, which is absolutely correct. We might even want to signify that even a little bit more with our head info, right? It was Spain who really started settling. They were the first ones to get in there and build the missions. So not just European territory, but Spanish territory. Okay, and then what's so nice is she shows us the citation there. If you can see, oh, and there goes my lights, of course, where I just highlighted. That citation is from the website in which she found that information. Why am I making you add it here onto your research? Even if this doesn't get included in your writing, we will likely include that bit of research within your bibliography at the end because it shows that you are completing research in which to make the total solid final effort of this research writing. Okay, so there's that bit. Each night you are getting research questions. From that, then you go and you begin your writing. So let me show you what your writing might look like. Here's the notes we took. And of course, let me do my little dance here, turn on my lights. How annoying. But we took notes on how to write this. What is the best way to write this first intro paragraph? And informational hook in writing is different than a narrative hook. Although you want to show your personality and your voice to still come through in your writing, the goal is that you are being an academic at this point. You know a lot of material, but you are inserting and including expert thinking, research within your writing. That is the whole goal of the style of writing. Therefore, your hook is different. You can start with a question, but here's what I will say. Be very careful not to make the question too cutesy. That's a less mature thing to do. So make sure if you start with a question that you're doing something really along the lines of leading your reader to where you want them to go, maybe. Another option would be a personal opinion. We know how to write an opinion. We just did that, right? You should start with I think, I believe, make sure it includes a because, and then include your reasoning. Now, again, this is not an opinion paper, but it is okay to start this sort of research report sharing your thinking. A really excellent way and a high-level way to start a sort of research report would be to insert a quote or historical fact or data. Sometimes you can use a shocker, a shocking event, but again, you want to refrain from making this too cutesy like in a narrative writing. We're really writing a high-level academic research report, so it should be highly research-based, right? But these are possible hooks that you might include. So let me show you my sample writing. And I did, let's get to the preview here. I did start with a hook. Let's see if you can identify what kind of hook as my screen loads up slowly. Today, many people believe that Sarah and other missionaries treated the Native Americans too harshly. Yet Sarah's leadership helped to give California its rich Spanish heritage. So what did I start with? I started with a quote. Okay, so I also cited where I got that quote from, and in this case, I got it from our textbook, Our Golden State. I found the quote on page 169. So you see here that I included a comma after the direct quote. So because this is directly written word for word from the textbook, I put it into quotations, making a direct quote. And at the end, instead of ending with a period, I put a comma and I put our textbook, Our Golden State, page 169. Okay, so when I return to my writing, that was my hook. Now, what am I going off of? I'm going off of that student copy and these research questions, which you are supposed to answer. So the very first question you're supposed to answer is, what was the purpose of the missions being built in Alta California? And that should make up your second or third sentence in this, right? First sentence being your hook. Second, maybe third, maybe if you're a big writer, even the fourth sentence will inform the reader what they will be reading about. What was the mission system? What was the purpose? How did it work? Etc. So you want to see where that shows up in my writing? Oh, yes, Miss Nawg-Dave. Okay, and back to my present. Oh my gosh, things move so slowly around here. Woo, okay. So then my next step would be, I went too far. To explain, right? I need 2 or 3 sentences to explain what is the mission system? What are you going to be reading about in my paper? Well, I used some head info, and parents, just in case you don't know, I consider head info information that they can cite to you. They've learned enough about it that they've got it all floating around up there. Usually dates are not considered head info. We don't tend to remember that stuff or memorize that stuff. Exact quotes, names, Father Sarah, they should be able to tell you about. That should be head info at this point. However, because this is a research report, we are not writing entirely in head info. So it has to be a combination of head info, direct quotes, and paraphrasing. Paraphrasing still needs a citation. So if you notice, I say, Spain realized that others would still come to Alta California and wanted to claim its rich resources for themselves. So they decided it was time to settle on what is modern day California. So that was kind of my head info. But I'm writing a research report, so I'm going to include some paraphrasing in here too. So I continued to write, and here comes my paraphrasing. In this case, I'm citing the source up front instead of the end. According to our Golden State on page 155, Jose del Galvez came up with an idea. If Spain were to build missions along the coast, they could send missionaries and convert the native people, build settlements, and claim the land. So again, I kind of took what I read in the book on page 155 and put it into my own words. We've done some homework on how to make that work and how to do that. So if they've done their homework, they should be good to go on that. But we're not done yet. I still had more research questions I had to answer and I need to include in my first paragraph. Now, there were a total of 5 research questions. I answered number 1 in blue. You do not have to use number 2, 3, 4, and 5 in your writing. You can choose 1 and write about. Again, your goal is to inform the reader what they're going to be reading about without getting specific about your mission yet. So, from my research, I put in Father Sarah was asked to join in the lead, and I add in a direct quote. Father Sarah already headed missions in Lower or Baja California, end quote, comma, our Golden State, page 155. A total of 21 missions have been built throughout our great state from San Diego to Sonoma, California. So again, I'm kind of summarizing a bunch of those questions and putting in information, including some direct quotes, including some paraphrasing, always citing if it's not something directly from my head. And again, names, data, facts, numbers generally need to be cited because they're not usually things we recall in our head so easily. Okay, and then my last step is to include a transition sentence to lead me into my next paragraph. So my transition is, all of the missions tell their own story of triumph and heartache. I will be sharing details about the 7th mission founded, Mission San Juan Capistrano. Shazam! Okay, so I have shared, so that's my example first intro paragraph. It's actually longer than an average paragraph, right? 3 to 5 sentences is average. This is probably closer 8 to 10. It's a research report that holds up to be okay. You want to be sure you get in all your info. And if you look at the notes we took, here's our research questions again that we are supposed to research, not just answer from head info. I have my hook. I informed the reader what they were reading about, and I answered this first question: what was the purpose of the missions being built in California? And then I answer questions 2 through 5 in my research, and that makes up sentences 3 through 8. And I did not include all of those. I didn't even bother to talk about Father Sarah. My paragraph was already too long. I didn't talk about the first one when it was built or the last one when it was built, but I did talk about how many missions total were built. So I did answer some of this information, okay? You don't have to include all of it. You're doing the research on it, and you choose what you include as you start writing. Okay, and just so you know, parents, the writing of the paragraph should be done in their composition book. The research is done on the slides online so they can readily use their online, because most of this coming from websites since we're not at school and we don't have access to all the books and stuff. So they need to insert their website that they have used on their research. So let me show you again, Devin's fantastic work. So again, she's doing the research and then putting the citation right there. That's going to help us when we have to build our bibliography at the end. And again, not all the questions need to be answered in each paragraph, but you do need to do the research on it. It's a research report. Each and every paragraph should include some head info, some paraphrasing and a citation, and some direct quote and a citation. Okay, so what comes next, you ask? Well, that was the introduction. Next paragraph up is our mission description. So the specific mission they have been assigned makes up subtopic number 1. They have already been assigned their research. They have their slide for homework on Tuesday. Let's see, that is, I believe, here. So this is from research, not from head info. They should have a little bit of both, and that'll aid them in writing the paragraph. Okay, so I hope that explains some. We have already moved on to our second paragraph, which again is our mission description or our subtopic number 1. Thanks so much.